Hey class, Peter Westman here checking in for discussion board 3, and this week we're asked to take on a really difficult topic of the Calvinism versus Arminianism, and I'm just going to dive right into it. What I think is that some people really get caught up on this and it can be very sensitive, so I want to first give a word of caution to this class because walking around on campus at Moody as a freshman a couple years ago, I saw people crying in the hallway because of this very topic, because what it meant for them, and because of the arguing that would ensue. And people are very, because this is salvation we're talking about. This isn't just a light topic. This isn't just some like secondary thing. This is one of the big three. This is a big one. Um, so I think that yeah, just be very sensitive. We are online. We're doing this through an online format. It's very easy to be impersonal. This is all personal, guys. Don't ever forget that. So be sensitive to the other classmates. If they come from a different belief system that you do, that's fine. Let that be fine. Um, but defend each other's right to be wrong in the sense that there is one truth. And we don't exactly know what that is all the time. We just want to pursue it and seek it. So good luck and glorify God. As for me, what is my position? I guess I'm kind of a fence guy in the sense that I don't want to say Calvinism. I don't want to say Arminianism. I want to say both because there's truth in both of them. They're both based on biblical ideas and concepts that are presented very clearly in the New Testament and even in the Old Testament. And I grew up in an Arminian church. I saw a lot of problems with that because I myself had to recommit myself to Christ again and again and again. And as a youth leader in the church, I saw other young people recommitting their life again and again and again to Christ. Why does that happen? Well, I think it's because we put too much emphasis on the deciding factor and not enough emphasis on the fact that Christ is calling you and He's choosing you and He wants you, and that once He calls you, that's it. It's not really on whether or not you want it. It's really on whether or not you see it. And I think the reason why I kind of lean towards, I guess, more of a Calvinist perspective than where I grew up, what I grew up in, is because um, it just kind of put a little bit more of a picture on it for me in the sense that like it made sense. It made a clearer image of what the salvation idea is all about. And so growing up thinking that it was all on me to decide for Christ, and then understanding that no, I'm just not seeing it the right way, and there's something wrong in my heart if I'm constantly committing my life to Christ. Then there's a missing piece there, and the missing piece is that, at least for me, when you're focusing on you and yourself and what you can do and what is going on around you, you're looking down and you're trying to do and you're trying to be and you're trying to act like the perfect Christian. And you think that if I just do it the right way and say the prayer the right way and do it at the right time, then I'll be saved. And I don't know if a young person would actually articulate it that way, but looking back, that's definitely what I was doing. Uh, and when you realize, well, wait a minute, this is just the truth. Christ is who He says He is, and He did this for me, and that's a beautiful, wonderful thing. And you just see that as beautiful, and you look up instead of down at what you've been doing. You think about what Christ did instead of what you can do, and you just realize it. Then you have no choice but to just follow Him. And you don't necessarily need this big outburst and performance prayer and making a big moment in your life. You just know and believe and follow. And there isn't really much of a choice or deciding factor in that. It's more of like a revelation or a realization. And because of that, I think that God has a huge role to play, not just in the act of salvation, not just in sending His Son on the cross, but also in the revelation of understanding of that. Um, why are certain people understanding it and others aren't? Why are some people that are surrounded by it still recommitting their life to Christ all the time without really getting it? Why does that happen? And I think it's because there is the Holy Spirit element that presents and reveals God's truth to you and gives you the understanding necessary to believe. I just don't think that I can understand salvation and the way that it happened for me and the way that I see it happening to other people in any other way other than God plays a huge, right, Donald Trump, part in what salvation is and how it's applied. And so Anyway, that's just my perspective. Feel free to disagree with me. I don't claim to have all the answers here. And I'd actually like to say that actually, because I believe that both have a lot of truth to them, I think that the idea of salvation is actually one of those things where it's a little bit beyond our comprehension. I don't think any one of us can understand what goes into sending your son to die on the cross for the entire world. Um, in one 3 nights rest sort of thing, like 3 days rest, and so it that concept is that's a God concept. That's not a man concept. And we can do our best to try to understand the pieces of it, but the reason why so many people come in with different viewpoints is because God designed us to think differently. He designed us to understand things differently. And I can't always understand the way somebody else is thinking. No matter how hard I try, I can't. And it's because I've been designed differently. And that's the beauty of this, and that's the beauty of God's church, is that some people are going to understand some concepts of God better than other people. And if we work together on these things and we understand the wholeness of God instead of just these parts of Him and as we see Him, then we can really, as a church, have a better understanding of who God is. And ultimately, we're not going to really know until we get to heaven. And anyway, glorify God this week. God bless.